Here with Shelly Saves the Day. Welcome, Shelly.
Hello. Good to see you.
And we're going to talk a little bit about how subscribers come to be, right, Shelly?
Absolutely.
They're sort of important, I think.
It depends. Oh,
Oh,
that's my first depends. It's only 30 seconds into the show.
I have to take a drink anytime Shelly says it depends. But, YouTube subscribers, it's probably the number one metric anywhere, even on any social media. If somebody says something, they don't even usually say how many followers you have. They say how many subscribers you have, even though most other platforms are about followers. The YouTube subscriber, somebody has 100,000, a million, 10, whatever it is. It's like the symbol that indicates your value.
I hate to hear that.
But we have this subtle feeling that that's true, right? And it's wrong, but it's the feeling, right? Everyone wants to know, how many subscribers do you have? YouTube doesn't give out awards for anything else but subscriber. You've got a subscriber button behind you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I do.
What is that, by the way?
So YouTube has these different tiers.
Yeah.
And people also think that there's only two tiers. They think that when you receive this award, which is when you reach 100,000, you receive a silver play button. And then when you reach 1 million, there's also a gold play button. And then there are, for certain creators, if they've reached 10 million, 50 million, they have these actual they look like diamond awards or gemstone awards. I remember Rosanna Pansino had gotten one at 10 million. Now, there are actual other levels. So 10,000 being one of them, like when you go from bronze to pearl, and when you reach 1,000, reaching some of these levels as well. And when I said before that, okay, we will backtrack. Sorry. But that's what that is an award for a channel that has achieved a specific milestone, and the lowest that they recognize at YouTube to order an award from this company that they partner with is 100,000. And you have the option when you do qualify to maybe you can get the first one for free, and then you can buy additional ones for maybe people on your team or staff or other people. So you'll sometimes see people with a whole wall of it, and that's because maybe someone is working on multiple channels and they just buy a bunch of extras.
Well, we've got Jeremy Vest. Our friend Jeremy Vest is in the chat, along with Jonathan Gaston. But Jeremy Vest, of course, is an expert in this field of driving millions of subscribers and views and business for his clients. So it's nice to have him watching and listening along. Let's talk about that subscribe button. Now, when somebody clicks that subscribe button, they are going to get all the videos from that channel. Is that correct?
No.
What? What? It's not correct? But
No.
I subscribed. I want them. I want the videos.
Sometimes seen people will be like, oh, I'm subscribed, but I haven't seen your videos come across my home feed, or, I don't get notifications. There are multiple things sometimes that have to happen. It may be that you need to opt in to notifications across all devices. It also depends on how many notifications you may have received within a certain time frame. It also depends on how many notifications are going to send out at all. And part of that is going to be recency in interaction or positive viewing signals that you've given to YouTube based on the channel videos that you've interacted with.
So not only is there a subscribe, but there's a notification button.
Yeah.
So that's like a super subscribe. So if you get if you subscribe and then get notified, do you get notified about everything that happens?
Absolutely not.
So I've subscribed, I've gotten notified, I still am not necessarily seeing all the videos from that channel. But why not?
There could be, oh my goodness. It's just going to be, it depends on so many.
Oh, wait,
it's
you
just,
said it
I
depends.
know. I'm just like, I'm afraid
from the
to
red
say it
bottle
now.
here.
People will just be on the floor. Do this with water. You'll be very hydrated.
I'm always drinking water.
There is a limitation on how many notifications that YouTube will send out to anyone within a 24-hour period,
I'm
usually no
gonna
more.
I'm gonna interrupt and tell you that the viewers can choose. When Shelly says it depends, I can drink from the red or yellow, red or
Red or
blue
blue, red or blue.
bottles. Okay,
This is
so you
very
have to
like the
vote in the
Matrix.
chat.
Morpheus is like.
That's right. So go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. There are going to be limitations on notifications that YouTube will send out to viewers. Usually no more than, like 3 within a 24-hour period. That could definitely be one of the things. It could be a lot of people are subscribed to probably more than 50 or so channels. And if you can imagine getting a notification every single time someone uploads, it would just be preposterous how many that could be potentially, especially if you're doing a lot of shorts and different things like that. So, one thing I also would try and recommend to people is you can go in if you have a short and then you have a long form video and you really want your subscribers to see the long form video, going in on the back end and turning off notifications of existing subscribers to be notified of that short release would be more beneficial if you want to get hopefully more eyes and notifications on the longer form. But it also can be if you've given indications to YouTube that you're not enjoying the content, you're not interacting with it, you're being presented a thumbnail and you're not clicking on it, it will decrease the likelihood and frequency at which YouTube will serve you up that person's content. And so if you notice once you start watching some more videos from someone,
Yeah.
you tend to see more videos from that person because they're positive indicators that you enjoyed it, stayed through it, and would watch more. And that's all YouTube wants at the end of the day, is for you to stay on the platform.
Even if you didn't subscribe, it will show you
Absolutely.
more.
Absolutely. And that's going to be when you show up in like that browse and suggested versus, versus the home screen.
So there's a number of ways to show YouTube that you want more of something. One of the ways is subscribing or getting notified or any of the various sponsorships, super chat and super like, or what is it? What is it? Super like?
Super thanks.
Super thanks. Thank
And
you.
super chat. Yeah, both are a thing now.
And
did you see also that there was a new release as of yesterday? There's a new beta that's rolling out in selected groups, and it will eventually probably roll out to more. But they're now giving, similar to Twitch, the ability to gift subscription like joins from memberships. If a channel has memberships enabled, now you can gift someone else, a viewer, a subscription membership to a viewer channel. So that's kind of an interesting thing.
So, and even though we are dialed in here, a lot of people in the world don't know what it means to subscribe to a channel. They don't know what happens when you subscribe, and they're reticent because they don't know what it means. But subscribing and then you have joining. What's the difference between subscribing and joining? And
actually, you'll see both on people's YouTube channels. So you could see join and subscribe right next to each other. Hey, Dan, great to see you. So one of the things, that first entry level is going to be the subscribe, and it's kind of like a thumbs up, a follow, something like that. And so hopefully the likelihood of them showing up in your feed more often is going to be there. However, with joining, that means a creator has specified that they'd like to have additional perks and benefits to a select viewership. And so that could be anything from special emojis, badges. It could be members only live chats. It could be private streams for them. It could be member only community posts. So it's really up to the creator to decide. And many of them will have multiple tiers similar to a Patreon. So a subscribe is free, but when you see a join, it means there's usually a video that's going to pop up and the creator should be explaining to you what would be involved, at what levels, how much it might cost, and what the benefits additionally would be. So that's the additional monthly cost, or however they run that. But the joining and the subscribing is free.
And we're so happy to have a great comment crew over here in the chat room between Jeremy Vest and Dan Courier and a whole bunch of others, Holly, Jonathan, and others. And feel free to chime in with questions and we'll respond to them. But so there's a number of ways YouTube learns that you like a channel, a video, etc. You might subscribe, you might get notified, you might join, you might super chat, etc. Or an individual video, you might comment or like. But there's the other sort of factor of just just showing up, right? Because like somebody said once, 90% of life is just showing up. And that's true about being a YouTube viewer too, because you show up and you watch and you keep watching and you watch for longer periods. You watch more of this creator's YouTube videos. You are going to see more videos provided to you. They're going to show up more, right? But just the opposite is true. Isn't that right, Shelly? I mean, all of those things can be the opposite, even if you're still subscribed, right? If I suddenly say, I'm done with Shelly, I am done with Shelly.
That's what you think.
I liked her, now I don't like her. So what do? Whatever, Shelly's talking about, sorry, not interested. I don't. You probably won't unsubscribe. I'm sorry, Shelly. I'm going to keep watching. but what about if I just didn't click, or I clicked and I didn't watch very long, or I clicked less often? Same thing's going to happen. Even if I'm still subscribed and getting notified, I'm actually not going to get notified, and I'm not going to be served those videos, and that's the other side, right? It's a disengagement.
And that's precisely it. And when you have people who are disengaged with your content and you start to see, there are statistics, of course, for everything, but there are going to be numbers that come out with what is your view to subscriber ratio? What is the ratio of views that are coming from, people who are subscribed and not subscribed? And if you start to look at that, and then YouTube then is getting these signals that like, Dane has 100 subscribers, but 70% of them don't want to watch his content, then the last thing they want to do is keep showing it to more people, because these are people who have already opted in to want to see more of your content. So it can actually really go in and damage you. And so that's why when people freak out when YouTube will occasionally go and cull some of these dead subscribers, bot subscribers, inactive accounts, as they like to call them, it can be a really great thing. But what you see is, because there's so much emphasis on the specific subscriber number, people really tend to get freaked out and be like, oh my gosh, I just lost 50, 100, subscribers. And it really takes a mind shift to be able to tell them that's a good thing that they went in and cleaned out dead accounts, because now you're actually going to be, maybe being presented to people who are actually going to watch. So it's just two ways to think about that.
So I've always thought about why people subscribe as an alignment of multiple factors, right? Because it's not just about one video. People don't usually just watch one. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you're like, well, how have I not heard about this person?
Yeah.
I'm subscribing. Whatever they're selling, I'm buying. But a lot of times you're like, well, I sort of like that one, but what else they got, right? And you might want to watch a few before you commit, even though we know subscribing isn't much of a commitment. But you still feel like, oh, I don't know if I want. It's like when you walk into a store and you definitely want to buy something, and they say, how can I help you? And you're like, just browsing. Because you just don't want to make that commitment. But I think that, and I'm not the first person to say this, but there's an alignment of belief, things that you believe in. We believe in helping creators, or we believe in growing YouTube channels, or helping people grow their business. But also there's an alignment of style. Not every YouTube channel is for every viewer.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
I think that you need to realize there could be reasons why people subscribe, and then people, why they stay subscribed. And sometimes the two aren't the same. And not only that, but just like you mentioned, it will very, very commonly take repeated exposure to someone, their video style, their videos itself, to get someone to actually hit the button. Because just like when you think about advertisements and how often someone needs to see it before they actually remember either the brand, the impact, the message, the something, it can take repeated exposure to not you as a brand, because before someone will actually hit, and the more commitment side of it. So it's just something to keep in mind. But it's interesting because it also is going to be what content you're making and how consistent it may be and how that consistent content actually fits into the person who's watching. So it could be I'm moving into a house and I need to figure out how to repair a toilet and repair my bathtub and whatever else. And so I'm going to go subscribe to Roger Wakefield right now because I need to know this stuff. But in a month after I've learned these things, they're installed, I probably am not going to come back to certain channels unless I need to keep doing that thing. So I may unsubscribe or just disengage with that person's content. So it could be because circumstances in my life have changed, or it could be that their content could be rapidly changing. One day you are a barbecue channel, the next day you're talking about iPhones, the next day you're talking about, how to barbecue meat, the next day then you're talking about ballet class, and then you're just so confused with whiplash. You're just like, I can't even handle this. I need to, no, because that's not what you're looking for.
There's a lot of reasons why people subscribe to channels, but are there bad subscribers? They're not bad people, but are they bad people to have subscribed? Are there people that you don't want subscribing to your channel? I'm not saying you're being mean. I'm just saying, does it reflect on your channel poorly?
It can. If you are someone who's gained subscribers through artificial means or through things such as giveaways and things that are more disingenuous and don't have real loyalty after said prize or something happens. So you see that a lot with Instagram and YouTube, celebrate this milestone or giving away when I hit or something like that. And so people will join for that reason. And it's like, oh, great, I have all these subscribers. But they don't actually watch any other videos except for the one with the giveaway, or, they just ignore all of your other videos, or every time you put out a video, you just lose subscribers and it starts bleeding out. It can very much hurt your channel if you think about it that way. And it's like, well, unless you want to repeat all your milestones again, it's probably not that much fun to just, go backwards for a lot of people.
Yeah, I really think that, a lot of times if you're getting subscribers of someone who just likes one of your videos, that's actually bad because it's going to send a signal to YouTube that just says, hey, somebody who likes one of your videos doesn't like other videos. Show fewer videos to other people. And by the way, the chat crew is blowing up here for you. Everyone is excited about Shelly. She's got it streaming on several of her channels, also various Shelly Saves the Day, and it's also on my Vidiup channel, VIDIUP. And if you like this as a podcast, by the way, it's the Video Marketing Value Podcast. So what do we do to get those subscribers? So let's say we've decided we want more subscribers, as most people do. What do we do? I mean, do you ask for it in the first 5 seconds? Say, hey, it's Dane Golden, subscribe here. Now we're going to talk about something. Or do you feel, Shelly, you have to give them a little bit more, deliver a little value, and then call for the subscribe?
There's a lot of the with them is what I like to call it, from viewers, which is the what's in it for me. And if you are someone who has just presented themselves to someone for the very first time in a video, it's like, today I'm going to show you how to install a new toilet. Make sure you like and subscribe. And they're like, well, I don't know yet. Maybe you're going to tell me to put it in backwards. Maybe you're going to have really bad advice. It can turn off a lot of people. So it could be that you want to wait until 1/3 in where you have a little bit more value, where you've already gotten some good feelings from the person and they're feeling secure, or that you're knowledgeable, or that you're likable or trustable, trusting, trustworthy. And it could be then that you ask for the subscribe. And then you also, it also comes back to a big, do we need subscribers? This is what I was going to say at the very beginning, which is subscribers don't really mean that much, except for unlocking a few certain awards or privileges and benefits. And then after that, it's really just a vanity metric for most people. And I know that's going to be controversial, but you need a few to be able to live stream. You need a few to be able to unlock the community tab. You need a few to be able to unlock monetization, a few to possibly, when they still had it, be able to access the YouTube creator space in certain cities. So you had to be at least bronze, or, they called it pearl. So you had to have 10,000, or you need to have, there are only a few things that you needed a specific number for. And then after that, it was just the only thing we're going to give you an award for which is funny because it's the only award that you get is for subscribers, and it's only at 100,000, 1 million, and then like 10 million. So just like when I gave the example though for a real estate agent, you don't really care if the person subscribes if they bought or sold a $1 million house. You know, it really is only going to be for other people, vanity, whether you want to work with a brand or unlocking those certain features. Other than that, the subscribers themselves don't really
There are,
give you a whole bunch of things.
I would say there's some other value to it, and it's more less tangible. But viewers are more likely to subscribe if you have more subscribers, and brands are more likely to consider you, have that first conversation. The more subscribers you have, it's a conversation starter.
Yeah.
So
But if the only reason a brand is talking to you is because you have a subscriber number of a certain caliber, not because they've seen your videos, they like the quality of your work, it may not be a brand that you want to work with either. Or you could be then in a situation where you had someone who was disingenuous and bought their followers or
Yeah.
bought subscribers. And then it's actually a slap in the face to the people who did work to get that subscriber number, who are then being edged out of things like brand trips back when they did them in the beauty world. People making this content or people who are buying the views or something like that. It could be that, or it could be the situation where you put something out for sale and maybe a brand has also dumped thousands of dollars into you to be a brand ambassador to sell things, hoping that the ROI is going to be on the back end when you sell units. And when you don't have a real audience, it actually can backfire or possibly turn them off from working with influencers altogether simply because the ROI was so bad.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be the only factor for
Yeah.
anyone, but sometimes it's just the first factor and it gets noticed.
Yes.
But some people when they ask for subscribers, they say, like Nick Nimmin, I think he still says this, and if this is your first time, subscribe. I think that's sort of has a nice ring to it, because I think that if you are watching a video and it's your first time on that channel and you subscribe and then you watch more, I think that's going to send YouTube some good indicators.
I think that if you provide a compelling reason with insight into why they would want to subscribe, it can work far better than if it's your first time subscribe, right? If it's your
Yes.
first time and you're learning to navigate YouTube and you want to figure out the best ways to shortcut the process because of the tips that we have here as in a community that we can share with you, hit that subscribe button. Or if it's your first time here, but you really care about cruelty-free beauty that's coming from the drugstore, that's entirely what my channel is about. Make sure you subscribe. Is more effective than just, if it's your first time here and first time seeing me, make sure you hit that button. We're like, well, I don't know if I want to yet. I don't know why.
Well said. So I think that if you combine those two, you're both saying we are a community that welcomes new people like you. And the reason that we welcome new people is that we are this type of group. And if you're this type of group, I think that if is really good, that if conditional.
Right. And especially if you're something like, if you're into all vegan natural bodybuilding and this is your first time here, then make sure you follow along. It will also disqualify people who are carnivore barbecue specialists from hitting that button.
Right, because they're going to be bad subscribers.
It could be.
We say on our channel, and if we haven't met. And the reason we say that is, one, we say the and because you can sort of insert that anywhere in the timeline. You could just go, it could be after step one, it could be at the beginning, it could be at the end, just that and, or oh, by the way, and if we haven't met, or oh, by the way, if we haven't met. So you can insert that. And then I like to say if we haven't met, because that's sort of a one-to-one thing. I'm always trying to emphasize this is a one-to-one medium. It looks like it's one-to-many, but it's really one-to-one. And then I say, my name's Dane Golden from the Video Marketing Business Academy, where we help you up your game on YouTube for business and transform your viewers into loyal customers. So click that subscribe button and you'll be golden. So I've conditionally said we're helping people make money in a business-like way. And we're not just about views, we're about customers and the transformation. So I've told about what I am, but I've also sort of set up a club that I'm inviting you to join or to know it's not for you. I'm both inviting and
Qualifying and
excluding.
disqualifying.
Say that again.
You're qualifying and disqualifying at the same time.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. Why is that important?
Well, I know that we've had conversations with us and Gwen talking about why it's not always about the most amount of views, but getting the correct views. So whether that's a brand or business trying to ideally hone in on their ideal client avatar and those viewers, that's a great way to have concentrated return on investment on whatever views that you do get, because you're talking to the specific group of people that hopefully would buy your product or service.
And in the chat crew, we have Adam's Exploits, who says, this is keeping me from watching the 76ers and getting frustrated. So Adam, I'm guessing, has at least three, well, let's see. I'm betting he has a phone, a laptop, and a television. Adam, tell me how many devices and what screens are in front of you right now. Tell us in the chat.
Well, here's a very important note right here, right? Most people are competing for attention
Yeah.
across multiple mediums. And if you think about that, what is going to make you stand out? I mean, because he may come across, a YouTube channel and then a radio show and then a television program, and then every single one of them wants attention. So how do you then hopefully catch his attention long enough to be like, you need to subscribe or set notifications, or hopefully so that when you see my stuff, you're going to come watch it. And like, that's what we're all trying to get. And it's difficult when you're competing for attention across all these other mediums.
He is just on a phone and laptop. He has Yahoo open on a tab on his computer. Are we streaming to Yahoo?
No, he is on Yahoo.
Okay.
He says it's open in a tab.
Okay, but how is, I assume that, oh, I see. So he's watching us then on the phone because the TV, oh, Yahoo's how he's watching the game. I get it. Okay. Yeah, I often like read the news or do social media as I'm watching YouTube or some other streaming platform. I think that I'm not the only one. So we've, and he checks the score. So, so let's say someone has subscribed or we're asking people to subscribe. Did I ask you where, I don't know if you answered me on where you thought
where I like to put the call to action.
Yes, where in the video it should be.
I don't believe that it needs to be the first 10 seconds. I do believe that it needs to be in the first third, because most traditionally you are lucky to have 30 to 40% of your audience still watching by the time you get to the last 20 or so seconds, which is the length of time you could possibly have an end screen, end card, anything like that. And if you're doing a good job directing them to another video, it should almost be a surprise ending where it's finishing. And so you can get more people to that finish line and hopefully watching something else in a bingeable style. But because so few people get to the end point, it makes sense to do your call to action in the first half or 1/3. And I don't like to do it in the hello, my name is. I like to do it after a little bit, unless you're going to do it and marry it with the value proposition that you and your channel have. I usually would go into a listicle style of video and possibly do it after points between 2 and 3 if it's like a top 5.
You said points 2 and 3. That's very interesting. I have come to a pretty similar situation. So you have 5 points, 5 steps. I usually try to put it in there after step 1, step 2, tip 1, tip 2. And that's why I say that, oh, and by the way, or if we haven't met, or but I try to sort of do a pattern interrupt there. And when I'm working with clients, I often don't know how long that video is going to be. I never, you never get scripts. People just make videos and then you try to do things after the fact. But sometimes it just feels like it should be earlier, And
I believe that if you do want to have it earlier, you don't have to do it with a verbal call to action, you could just have an on-screen animation that pops up on the screen that is going to be a visual interrupt for them, and then later go into an audible one that you would say later.
If there was any metric that YouTube could give us that they don't give us, that they know, I would want to know at what point in a video people subscribe.
I think they have that.
I don't think they do. If they do, I have been missing it forever.
I
No,
think they have it because they have the point where they go back and they rewind and like in the drop off. But I think they have. I mean, they have in the. Oh, you may be. I thought under advanced analytics. You're probably right though. I know they have. They will tell you specifically which videos and how many people subscribe within each. But I
yes.
thought under advanced that they had something that says. But you're right. It's on a wish
If
list that I
it's,
saw
if
on
it's,
Twitter.
okay. All right. And if you guys know of a tool that helps you do that, let me know. But yeah, imagine if you could find out that you could go through with your audience retention and say, there was somebody who subscribed at this point in the video. Because we don't know when in videos most people usually subscribe. We only know based on our own behavior.
Fair.
So if you could learn that, I think that would be helpful. Now, I have a sort of a different take on whether something is a how-to video versus a what video. Like I do videos and encourage clients to do a minority of videos that are about what something is instead of how to. So I encourage people mostly to do how-to videos, even if you don't say how to. And tips are sort of how to, even if you don't say how to. Right. My point being is that a what video is more like a Google search. It needs to be a lot shorter than a how-to video. People are looking for a specific fact, and that video needs to get right to the point. And if you're going to do a call for subscribe, I would recommend doing that at the very, very end. Just make it a short, to-the-point video, do something at the end. But I think that the what videos, I don't know if anyone else thinks this way, I think that they're an underserved area because, and I've talked with this about this a lot, but Google people are really searching for what questions, and YouTube they're really looking for how-to questions. Yeah. But there's a lot of Google traffic that goes to YouTube, and you can rank high with a what type of answer. Like, what is this? What is Restream? We're on Restream. What is Restream? You can make a short video that can do very well. It's just going to get you traffic from Google, and it doesn't have to be very long. So I think that's an underserved area that most people don't do.
What you're talking about too is most people understand that there are certain pillars of content within YouTube. We've got education, inspiration, and we've got like the entertainment type of thing. So most of us fall into some sort of bucket. And actually, when you look at the retention graphs for each type of pillar, they follow similar patterns for everything in the style, but each pillar is vastly different. So if you have something that's inspirational by nature, you have that epic climax at the very end that people want to figure out, did they make it to the top of the mountain? Did they, the Casey Neistat taking over a mall and turning it into a snow park or something like that? They want to get to the end. The Mr. Beast video they want to get to the end and actually figure out what actually happened. When you've got something in a tutorial type of thing, you see the retention graphs actually go kind of wonky. Most people don't get to the end because most people will drone on about the thing that they've accomplished and how cool it is, instead of you'll see the drastic drop off after the last step when they've taught the thing. And so if you actually take into account what the different retention graphs look like as well, that could, depending on the type of content pillar that you are in, could dictate where and when you would put your call to action for subscribe. Because if you think you're going to get the most people to the end of it, then it would make more sense to have it in the latest third. But if you think as a tutorial, they're going to drop off after in the listicle, that's why I sandwich it.
You've really got me thinking here, and this is something I really haven't examined, and I don't know how you've come to these conclusions, if there was a course you took, or if you've learned this, or if it came from somewhere else. I want to know more. So
that actually came from YouTube itself. They had a PDF like 280-page document about YouTube and how it works. But this was one that I had studied inside of it for back when they had YouTube certifications.
Yeah.
This was for one of the comprehensive ones because they had channel strategy and content management and strategy, basically. And this was inside of an entire group of chapters about strategy and realizing how they characterize not only the buckets, but they show these specific graphs of retention and what they commonly look
Oh
like in each
my.
type of content. So I had done that when I had gotten YouTube certified several years ago. They have since subsequently kind of deprecated the program, but it was a wealth of knowledge. And so I still have those documents.
Do you, do
I
you
will
still
share
have
them with
that
you.
PDF?
I think I do. It's on a
If
hard,
you still
yes.
have that somewhere,
I
this
mean, it's old
300
now,
page,
but I mean,
but
it's still
but
valuable.
that's not going to change. That's not
Yeah.
going to change how people. I have been YouTube certified, but I got certified and then they sort of changed it, and so I couldn't get recertified
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
wasn't
They
part of
changed it.
a larger company.
Yeah. So for anyone watching, there used to be this YouTube certified program. You could take additional courses, and you would take a quiz. And if, as long as you met a qualifying score, then they would give you the designation of YouTube certified in whatever specific category you were. So I was YouTube certified in channel growth as well as content strategy. But there was also one about like music rights. And then the next year they revamped a little bit and they changed the course names. And then the year after that, because these certifications do expire. So don't believe people when they're just like, I'm YouTube certified forever. It's like, no, you're supposed to recertify. And then companies, if they wanted to use the YouTube certified moniker, you also had to have a certain amount of your staff who would take the course. And then you could use the little branding and whatnot. But they have changed it now so that not only are the course names not the same, you can only be enrolled in the recertification if you have a channel partner manager, which happens for some channels above 100,000 and above, or companies that they deem correct partners. And then that person will enroll you in the course so that you can go through the online training and quiz again. So most of the time now, anyone who has a YouTube certificate or had in the past is now probably expired. So just saying.
Yeah. So, but I'm very interested in how different types of content, what their audience retention is. That's fascinating to me. I've never heard anyone talk about that. I must be in a vacuum because I don't know. And welcome to Justin Brown of Primal Video. He's
Hey.
come in on Shelly's channel. Welcome, Justin. Justin, we're talking about, in general, why people subscribe to YouTube channels. And I'd like to have you say in the comments just a few sentences about why you believe people subscribe to YouTube channels, seeing you have a
I would
million
have to say it's that
subscribers.
awesome accent. I
He's
love that accent.
Australian. He's Australian. He doesn't sound like that at all. But yeah, he's incredible educator. Primal Video. So we've talked about why people subscribe. We've talked about subscribing as a method of engaging. We've talked about how even if you subscribe, you're not subscribed. And even if you're notified, you're not notified. But if you're joined, you're definitely joined.
That is something. That is something.
And conversely, while those are, indicators that YouTube should send you more videos from this channel, the other indicators, I mean, certainly an unsubscribe would be send this person less. But even if you unsubscribed and you kept watching, they would keep sending you more videos.
Yeah. You would really need to proactively go in, scrub your watch history, go into their channel, and every once in a while they'll have like the video come up and you'd have to click and be like, show me this less. Like, I don't want to see videos like this. And Facebook also commonly has that type of thing. Even you start seeing posts from topics you may like, but pages you've never followed. And so you can actually you'd have to go in and be like, stop showing me from this, this channel.
But there's also, these negative signals, meaning you've stopped watching, you've stopped clicking, or if you click on a channel, you watch it less. So subscribing is valuable. It is valuable. We all want more subscribers, not just because it gets you more attention and sort of validates you, but it shows that you're continuing to grow on the continuum. You know, you're continuing to grow the channel forward. It's just a demonstration that you're resonating with your viewers. It's not the end all be all, though. Any other things? Now, there's a couple of other things like subscribe placement. Let's just talk about where that subscribe button shows up. Maybe a simple thing, maybe it's not so simple. So on desktop or mobile, very easy to subscribe, right? You go down below the video, you click the subscribe button. But there's other tools. Sometimes you might be on a embedded YouTube video and you want to subscribe, and they have now made it so you can subscribe right from an embedded video. There's even apps that you can, like little applets that you can embed into a WordPress account that will help you subscribe. And then there's the secret URL subscribe link.
I'm
You
not a
hate
fan
that?
of those. I hate them.
Why? Why is that?
I know a lot of people will say that it's a trick to get more subscribers, and it is, but it is, to me, disingenuous. I want someone to hit the button because they came to my channel and then they saw something that they liked and then they hit the button themselves. What Dane is referring to is there is basically your channel URL and then subconfirmation equals 1 at the very end of the URL, which is, I'm assuming,
Slow
what you're
down
talking
and
about.
repeat that. Slow down and repeat that because that was a bunch of jumble and it doesn't make sense unless you explain it more.
So there's an additional link that you can do, which would be your channel name. And then also they have this extension at the end of it, which is going to click up a modal window when someone clicks on it. So they'll go to your YouTube channel and then a little window pops up and says, confirm that you want to subscribe to this channel. Every time I see one of those, I get ticked off because I'm like, stop making the choice for me. I just wanted to see one thing. And you'll see that frequently when someone is bringing in traffic from a Facebook post, a Twitter post, something like that. And so I have avoided those. I don't particularly like them. I want someone to come to my home channel page and then look around, click around, and not be immediately inundated in the face with, you wanted to hit the button and subscribe, right? Because they may not have even had the chance to even read the title of the video that they came in for. So for me personally, I don't like to use it. I know a lot of people will say, yeah, do it. It doesn't hurt. But I will say, as long as it's not disguised and you have something maybe in a link tree that says, subscribe to my channel, then use that specific URL so they know exactly what they're clicking, not just, here's my YouTube channel, go check it out, and sending someone that link with the subscribe
I had
button.
no idea there was such animosity for the subscribe link, but people are saying in the chat room, so I am going to read some of the comments here, and we'll get to them. So Discord for Creators says, do you pay attention to your ratio of subscribers watching your content versus non-subscribers? So you don't have to be subscribed to watch. Is it important to take a look at that? And that's something that Gwen Miller, our co-host who's not here today, she is adamant about this. This is a very important number to her. Shelly, do you find that's important?
It can be. I'm going to say that's my new it depends.
Wait, you said it depends. Drinking
It
the
depends.
red.
Here's the
drinking the
thing
red water.
is if drink the water. Yes. If you are a tutorial utility channel like I am, and I found that in the past I had 5% of my views are coming from subscribers, right? You then have to make a choice. And it also can guide your thinking. It could be, I can repeat a lot of tutorials because most of the people don't want to repeat tutorials because they believe that their audience will get sick of it. But in truth, it's 5% of my views come from people who've seen any of my videos or are like opted in. And you're also pretty big headed if you believe that just because someone is subscribed to your channel, that they've seen all your content. So if you're utilitarian based, you could be like, okay, guns blazing, let's do this, all of these repetitive type of things. If you are someone, conversely, who has a 60% subscriber view ratio, you may have or may not have a very strong community, but you're not appealing to new people. So you have to use that as data to only my people who I'm bringing, only my people who I've cultivated are ever going to see this content. It's going to make it really hard for you sometimes to grow unless you then start diving into those people to be like, bring a friend, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's a grow from within type of strategy. So it's important to realize also what kind of channel you are. If you're a vlogger channel, you might want to have a much higher subscriber ratio because it's relationship based, it's personality driven, and they are coming for you. If you're a person who only does tutorials, you may not care about that as much versus the other. And one other thing to keep in mind is if you have an insanely high viewer to subscriber ratio, which you may think is a good thing, it might be really hard for you to grow your audience.
You may be too niche. You may have already found all the people that want to see your channel.
It's possible. And so if you've tapped out and you haven't either made the amount of views or the money that you need, you're going to have to expand your circle of things that you talk about to bring in more people.
I'm going to read from some of our comments. We did ask Justin Brown of Primal Video to say why he thought people subscribed in general. And he said, I think we subscribe, I'm going to show this comment. I think we subscribe to channels when we connect and resonate with the content creator. Right. Just helping or entertaining someone once usually isn't enough. Yep. Showing up consistently and adding value is key. So
that's that repeated touch. You got to have it.
It's sort of like when you have a friend. If you have a friend, you see them more than once. You hang out with them more than once, right? It's not just, hey, I met this guy at camp and I haven't talked to him since. You're talking to that person. That's what friendship is. And that's the relationship we want to build with our viewers, is a one-to-one relationship. Now, both Justin and Discord for Creators do not like the subscribe links. Justin says, not a fan of the pop-ups. And Discord for Creators says, I'm okay with those subscribe links as long as I know what I'm clicking on.
Yeah. If you have it clearly notated, click this button and it will subscribe you to my channel. It's much different, thank you for the shortcut. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. It saves me a button click. But if it's just like, check out my latest YouTube video or something like that, I don't like it. It actually will turn me off from subscribing to someone's channel.
Justin says 94% of his views come from people who are not subscribed. And for himself, he's not subscribed to most channels he watches. There's no need to really. The YouTube algo is so good at showing me the content I'm interested in. And he also says it would be really cool if YouTube told you the number of videos you watched before subscribing. Yes, we'll combine that with where in the video.
Where in the video.
You watched 3 parts of 3 videos, and then you subscribed at 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Within the video.
Although they are getting kind of, they have the repeat viewers. So
that is helpful.
At least they have that. So you can see like these people are kind of new to my channel. These people are like, obviously not. Plus they also, one thing that's interesting that you can look at as well is people who are subscribed versus not subscribed. What are the average view durations? Because you'll find that most of the time the people who are subscribed to you will watch you drone on for much longer than people who are not subscribed to you. So you get a lot more leniency with the crowd that is subscribed to you. So if you have the majority of the people who are subscribed to you, then you can start putting out some of these videos where you don't need as much like eye-catching retention type stuff because they're already built and trained to want to hang out with you a little bit longer.
Well, we have come to the point in the video when we ask you to subscribe if you're still watching. And we're going to continue this conversation same time. Oh, we're not next week. I'm not going to be available, but in 2 weeks, we're going to continue the same
Well, I won't be
conversation.
here in 2 weeks because I'll
Well,
be doing my Talk It podcast fest.
so
Podfest.
yes, so everyone's watching this on Shelly's channels. So if you're in 2 weeks, if you want to watch this 2 Thursdays from now, you can come over to the Vidiup channel, VIDIUP, at 4 p.m. Pacific on Thursday, the 26th, I think. So, Shelly, until then, Shelly Saves the Day. How can people subscribe to more Shelly?
Well, also, I'm going to be live streaming at 5:30, so you can just hang out with
That's
me for a little
true.
bit longer
That's true.
and,
Yeah, stay on this.
or find me on Twitter
Whatever
under
you're
Shelly
watching,
Saves.
stay on. I'm sorry, I talked over you. Go on.
No, you're fine. I'm saying, so yeah, after our live stream every Thursday, I always live stream on Thursdays, 5:30 p.m. Or come find me on Twitter under Shelly Saves the.
5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what that is in Australia, Justin. I'm sorry. And they can also watch your Amazon videos. You are doing amazing Amazon videos.
Thank
Where's
you.
that? Where's that?
Thank you. Oh gosh, it's under like amazon.com/shop/Shelly Nathan. It's in the description of this video. You can click on it over there.
All right, great. And my name's Dane Golden, and this is the Video Marketing Live, and you can see us on Vidiup, VIDIUP, any of Shelly's channels, except not next week. And also, you can go to videomarketingvalue.com. If you are a business person and you're interested in this type of thing and would like, to set up a paid call with me, you can go to talktodane.today, and then you can talk to me. But, just come and talk to me in the chat. I like that too. So until next week, here's to helping you help your customers through video.